The man's steps were unsteady as he walked out of the cryo chamber. His legs trembled, his body weak after centuries of sleep. The alien girl stayed close, supporting him whenever he stumbled. Her silver eyes never left him, watching with care. The corridors around them were silent. Long metal walls stretched into the dark, broken wires hanging like vines. The place smelled of rust and cold air. Every corner whispered of a time long gone. The man stopped, staring at the ruined hall. "Where is everyone?" His voice cracked with pain. "This station, it was full. There were thousands of us here. Where did they go?" The alien girl hesitated. She knew the truth would break him, but she could not hide it forever. She lowered her gaze, searching for the simplest words in his language. "Dead," she said softly. "Long ago. Your kind. Gone." The man blinked, unable to understand. He shook his head fiercely. "No, that's not possible. Humanity can't just vanish. There were billions of us, billions." His voice grew louder, echoing down the empty hall. The girl's face softened. She lifted her hand and touched the wall where old carvings still remained. Symbols and numbers left behind by human hands. Dust covered them, but they told stories of the past. "War," she whispered. "Your people. Fight. Fire across worlds. Many die. Then disease. Hunger. Machines stop. One by one, all end." The man's chest tightened. His breath caught in his throat. His mind refused to accept the words. No, that's not humanity. We were strong. We were survivors." Her silver eyes filled with sadness. "Yes, strong, brave. But even strong things fall." The man stumbled forward and gripped the wall, his hands shaking. Images flooded his mind, faces of family, laughter of children, the voices of his people, all gone. Forever. Tears blurred his vision. "Why me? Why did I survive?" His voice was broken, desperate. Why not them? Why not anyone else? The alien girl stepped closer. She wanted to comfort him, but she knew no words could heal his pain. Still, she tried. "Not chance," she said. "Not mistake. You alive because you must be. You are last flame." He turned toward her, his eyes red with grief. "Last flame? What does that even mean?" "I'm just one man. I can't carry all of humanity." She looked at him with quiet strength. "Flame small, but it can light dark. Even one can matter." The man sank to the floor, his head in his hands. His body shook with silent sobs. The alien girl knelt beside him, her hand hovering near his shoulder. Slowly, gently, she rested it there. Her touch was soft, warm against his cold skin. "You are not alone," she whispered. "I stay. I protect." For a long time they sat in silence. The man's heart ached, torn between sorrow and disbelief. The alien girl's presence was the only anchor keeping him from drowning in despair. Finally he looked up, his voice trembling. "If humanity is gone, if I'm the last, and then what am I supposed to do? Live as a ghost?" Her eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. "No, you live as human. Remember them. Carry them. And maybe begin again." The words struck him deeply. Begin again? Could he? Was it even possible? He studied her face. She was not human, but in her gaze he saw something familiar. Compassion. Something his own people once carried. For the first time he wondered if maybe, just maybe, he was not as alone as he thought. He wiped his tears, though his heart still hurt. "Tell me," he said, his voice steadier now. "Tell me everything. What happened after we fell?" The alien girl nodded. She began to explain in her soft, broken voice. She spoke of how other species had watched humanity rise and burn, how they admired and feared them. She told of how humans reached for the stars, only to be undone by their own wars. Her words painted a picture of greatness and tragedy, of dreams too big for fragile bodies. And as she spoke, the man listened in silence, his heart torn between pride and sorrow. Finally, she stopped, her voice quiet. This station, last place. I find it empty. Only you remain. Last man. The words echoed in his mind. Last man. It felt like a curse. Yet, sitting there in the broken ruins with the alien girl beside him, it also felt like a strange kind of destiny. He drew a shaky breath. Then I have no choice, he whispered. If I'm the last, then I must carry them all. I must not let humanity die completely. The alien girl's lips curved into the smallest smile. Yes, not end, new beginning. Her words planted a fragile seed in his heart. He was broken, yes. But maybe he was not finished. Maybe, with her beside him, he could find a way forward. The chamber around them was still cold and lifeless, but between the last human and the alien girl, a spark had been born. And sparks, even the smallest, can grow into fire. The station was quiet, except for the low hum of old machines. Cold air drifted through the broken halls, carrying the weight of forgotten time. The man sat near a dim light, his back against the steel wall, while the alien girl stood not far away, watching him. For hours, silence hung between them. He had cried until no more tears would come. Now his face looked pale and tired, but his eyes still held the spark of life. The alien girl understood his pain, even if she could not feel it the same way. She had lost much too, friends, family, her own people during wars of her kind. Loss was something all beings understood. At last the man spoke, his voice rough. You saved me, but why? Why risk it for someone you don't even know? The alien girl tilted her head. She searched for the right words. Her human speech, still clumsy. Because you are last. Because life must not end alone. He looked at her carefully. Her silver eyes glowed softly in the dark, filled with calm honesty. She was strange, yes, different in every way, but he saw no cruelty in her, only kindness. Slowly, he nodded. Then, thank you. It was the first time he had said those words since waking, and the girl's lips curved into a small, quiet smile. Over the next days, they stayed close together in the ruins of the station. The alien girl shared her food, strange glowing fruits from her supplies and liquid that shimmered like light but tasted sweet. At first, the man hesitated, but hunger forced him to trust her gift. To his surprise, the food gave him strength, warming his weak body. In return, he began to share with her stories. His words were broken, sometimes halting, but he told her of Earth, the blue oceans, the endless forests, the cities filled with light. His memories carried pain, but also beauty. The girl listened with wide eyes, her heart stirred. She had studied humans, yes, but hearing his voice, seeing the emotion in his face was different. Through him, the lost world of humanity came alive again. Sometimes she asked questions. Ocean, what is? He smiled faintly for the first time. It's like a giant lake, bigger than you can imagine. Endless water, waves that rise and fall. The sound, it's like music. Her eyes glowed brighter, filled with wonder. I want, see ocean. His chest ached, but he nodded, softly. Maybe one day, if any still exist. Their bond grew stronger in small moments like these, sharing food, sharing stories, learning each other's words. The girl tried to repeat human phrases, and he laughed gently at her mistakes. She did not mind. His laughter was like sunlight. In the dark, but it wasn't only words that built their trust. There were actions too. When the man's legs failed him, she supported him. When her supplies grew short, he searched the ruined station for anything that might help. Together they survived. Yet, not everything was easy. One evening, as they rested near the broken cryo hall, the man looked at the empty pods, Thousands of them, now silent tombs. His heart grew heavy again. "Why me?" he whispered. "Why not them? Why am I the only one alive?" The alien girl sat beside him, her silver eyes gentle. She did not try to explain destiny or fate. She only said, "Because world needed you and I need you." He turned to her, surprised by the honesty in her voice. She looked away, shy, as if she had spoken too much. But the words sank into his heart. For the first time, he did not feel like a burden. He felt wanted. The days passed, and their bond deepened. The man began to trust her touch, her guidance, her voice. The girl in turn began to see him not just as the last human, but as someone unique, someone worth protecting. One night, as they sat together near the glowing stars beyond the broken window, the man asked softly, "What's your name?" "The Q." Girl paused. Then in her own language she spoke a word that shimmered like music. He tried to repeat it, clumsy on his tongue, but she laughed softly, her eyes warm. "And you?" she asked. He gave his name. Short, simple, human. She whispered it back, carefully shaping the sounds. For a moment the cold station felt warmer. The bond between them was no longer fragile. It was growing, alive, like a small plant pushing through stone. Though sorrow still lived in his heart, he was no longer alone, and though she was not human, she was no longer a stranger. They were two souls in the ruins of time, an alien girl and the last man, finding in each other the strength to keep going. And somewhere deep inside, where neither dared to speak aloud, something new was forming, something greater than survival, something that felt like the beginning of love. The universe was silent. Stars burned far away, but around the lonely space station there was nothing but darkness. The giant station floated in the void like a broken memory of another time. Most of its lights were dead. Only a few weak blue glows remained, flickering like tired candles. Inside the station, metal corridors stretched endlessly. Dust and silence covered everything. The air was cold, heavy, and lifeless. Machines that once served humans were now only shadows of the past. Broken screens blinked with meaningless signals. Most of the cryo chambers, glass tubes once filled with sleeping humans, were cracked and empty. Humanity was gone, but not all was lost. An alien girl walked through the silent halls. Her steps were soft, echoing against the steel floor. She was tall and graceful, with pale skin that shimmered faintly under the cold light. Her eyes glowed with a strange silver hue, showing intelligence and sadness. Her long hair, dark and smooth, flowed gently as she moved. She was not human, but there was something gentle, something kind in her presence. She had come to this forgotten place searching for truth. Her people had long spoken of the humans, a species that once filled the stars with their fire and ambition. But now they were gone, lost to war, greed, and time. The girl never believed she would find anything left. Yet, as she entered a chamber at the heart of the station, she stopped suddenly. Her glowing eyes widened. There it was, one last cryopod, still alive. Unlike the others, it was not broken or dead. Its glass was fogged, covered with frost, and inside, a shape moved. A human shape. The girl stepped closer, her heart beating fast. Through the ice, she saw him. A man. His body lay still inside, frozen in deep sleep. His face was pale, but calm, almost peaceful. He was strong, tall, with features unlike her own kind. She had never seen a living human before, only pictures in ancient records. Her hands trembled as she touched the frozen glass. The pod hummed weakly, its system struggling after centuries of silence. She could hear the slow rhythm of the machine, keeping him alive. "He is still here," she whispered softly in her own language. Her voice was almost a prayer. She walked around the pod, studying the old human technology. Most of it was broken, but the chamber had one last spark of power. just enough to keep the man alive all these years. For a moment, she stood in silence. Should she wake him? What if he was dangerous? What if he hated her kind? But deep inside, she also felt another thought. What if he was the key? The key to remembering humanity, the key to something greater. The station groaned around her, as if warning her that time was short. If she did nothing, the machine would fail soon, and the last human would die. Her heart beat faster. She was an alien, but in that moment she felt something very human, fear and hope at the same time. Slowly, she placed her hand over the control panel. The buttons were old, covered in dust. She brushed them clean and studied the symbols. Her knowledge of human language was limited, but she understood enough. There was a switch, a command to release. She hesitated, breathing deeply. The silence of the universe pressed down on her. The decision was hers alone. If she freed him, she would not only change his life, but maybe her own. If she failed, she would end the last chance for humanity to return. Her silver eyes closed for a moment and then opened with determination. She pressed the button. The pod hissed. Steam rose as ancient locks clicked open. Frost cracked and water dripped onto the floor. The glass door shook and slowly it began to slide open. The girl stepped back, her heart racing. Inside, the man stirred. His fingers twitched. His lips moved as if searching for breath. His eyes were still closed, but life was returning to him. The alien girl watched in silence, her body tense. She was ready to help if he fell, ready to protect if he attacked. She did not know what he would do, or even what he would feel. Finally, his chest rose sharply. He gasped, pulling in air like a drowning man breaking the surface of the sea. His eyes opened, confused, wild and filled with fear. The last man of Earth had awakened, and the alien girl standing before him knew that nothing would ever be the same again. The sound of rushing air filled the chamber. Steam curled like ghosts around the broken floor as the cryopod slowly opened. The alien girl stood still, her glowing eyes fixed on the figure inside. Her hands tightened against her chest, her heart beating with fear and curiosity. The man's body trembled as warmth returned to his frozen veins. His skin was pale, his lips blue, and his breathing shallow. For a long moment he looked like a statue of ice, lifeless and still. Then suddenly, his chest rose sharply. A violent gasp broke the silence. He coughed, choking on air, and his hands jerked forward as if fighting against invisible chains. The alien girl quickly stepped closer. She whispered softly in her language, words of calm that he could not understand. "Easy. You are safe now. Breathe." Her voice was gentle, almost like a song. The man's eyes flicked open. They were not silver like hers, but deep and human. Eyes that held both confusion and fear. His gaze darted across the chamber, scanning the strange metallic walls, the alien lights, the tall figure standing before him. His breathing grew fast. His voice cracked as he tried to speak. Where am I?" His words were weak, broken by centuries of silence. The alien girl tilted her head. She recognized fragments of his language, enough to understand the question. Slowly, carefully, she raised her hand, not as a threat, but as a gesture of peace. "You. Safe," she said, struggling with his tongue. "You. Not alone." The man's eyes widened as he truly looked at her for the first time. She was not human. Her silver eyes glowed faintly. Her skin carried a strange shimmer, and her presence was otherworldly. His body stiffened. He pressed back against the glass of the pod, fear racing through his veins. "No," he whispered. "No. Where are the others? My crew? My people?" The alien girl's heart tightened. She wanted to tell him the truth, but she knew it would break him. Still, she could not lie. Her lips trembled as she formed the words. "Gone," she said softly. "All gone. You. Last." The man froze. His mind could not understand. His heart pounded painfully in his chest. No, you're lying. It's impossible. Humanity can't be gone. His voice cracked with desperation. Tears burned his eyes. He tried to step out of the pod, but his legs were weak. He stumbled, almost falling, until the alien girl caught him gently. His body pressed against hers, fragile and shaking like a lost child. For a moment he looked up at her, expecting cruelty, expecting betrayal. But instead he saw only kindness in her glowing eyes. She held him carefully, as though he was precious, fragile, and worth saving. Why did you wake me?" he whispered, his voice trembling. The alien girl paused. She searched for an answer, but none felt right. In truth, she didn't know why. She had simply felt that she could not let him die. Finally, she said, "Because you are hope." The words confused him. Hope? How could he be hope when he was the last of his kind? When billions of lives had already turned to dust? The man sank to his knees, covering his face with his hands. Pain filled his chest as reality pressed down on him. He was truly alone. Humanity was extinct, and he was the final survivor. The alien girl knelt beside him. She touched his shoulder softly, unsure if he would accept her comfort. But when he did not push her away, she stayed close. "Listen," she whispered gently. "Your world, gone. But you, alive. And while you alive, humanity not end." He looked at her with broken eyes, tears sliding down his cheeks. "What am I supposed to do? Alone? I can't carry all of them." Her voice became firm, filled with quiet strength. "Not alone. I stay. I help. You not last. As long as I with you." Something stirred in the man's chest, a small spark, faint but real. Her words did not erase his grief, but they gave him a reason to breathe, a reason not to give up. He looked at her again, this strange alien girl who had chosen to save him. For the first time since opening his eyes, he felt a hint of safety. The silence stretched between them, filled with questions unspoken. Who was she? Why did she care? Could he truly trust her? But one truth had already been written in this frozen chamber. His old world was gone, but perhaps a new beginning was possible. The alien girl stood and reached out her hand. Her silver eyes glowed softly, a promise in the darkness. "Come," she said. "We begin again." The man hesitated, then placed his trembling hand in hers. And in that simple touch, the story of the last human and the alien girl truly began. The station had grown quieter with each passing day. The man and the alien girl built a fragile rhythm, eating, talking, resting, and searching the ruins together. Their bond grew like a hidden flame in the dark. But even the strongest flame can be seen, and in the silence of space, nothing stays hidden forever. One evening, as the man was telling her about Earth's skies, the blue stretching endlessly above green forests, the alien girl suddenly froze. Her silver eyes flicked toward the corridor. Her ears, sharp and sensitive, caught a sound he could not hear at first. A faint echo, a distant metallic thud. The man stopped talking. "What is it?" he whispered. Her voice was low and tense. "Not us. Others." Before he could ask, the sound grew clearer. Heavy footsteps, metal scraping, and voices speaking in a strange, alien tongue. The man's chest tightened with fear. He looked at her, panic rising. "Others? Who? Are they like you?" Her eyes darkened. "Yes, but not same, not safe." She pulled him quickly behind a broken wall, pressing him down. The man's heart pounded as shadows moved at the end of the corridor. 3 tall figures entered the hall, their bodies covered in armored suits that glowed faintly with strange light. Their helmets reflected the dim glow of the dead station, and in their hands they carried long weapons, pulsing with energy. The alien girl's body tensed. She whispered quickly, her voice urgent. "They come for you. My kind. Some want human. For study. For power. Not for life. The man's stomach turned cold. He understood at once. If they found him, they would not see a person. They would see a tool, a specimen, maybe even a weapon. What do we do? He whispered desperately. Her silver eyes burned with determination. We hide. We survive. The figures moved closer, scanning the broken pods with their weapons. Their voices echoed like thunder in the hollow hall. One of them touched a console and the old machine sparked weakly. A harsh laugh followed. They were searching for life. The man's breathing grew heavy. His hands trembled. He wanted to run, but the alien girl's hand gripped his arm firmly. Quiet, she mouthed. Her touch steadied him, just enough. Minutes felt like hours. The intruders passed close, their footsteps shaking the floor. One of them paused, turning its helmeted head toward their hiding place. The man's heart stopped. He could feel sweat sliding down his neck. If they came closer, they were finished. But just as the armored alien stepped forward, one of the others called out, drawing his attention back. They argued for a moment in their strange language, then continued moving deeper into the station. Their footsteps faded into the distance. The man exhaled shakily, his body weak with relief. But the alien girl did not relax. She shook her head. They not gone. They search. They know something lives here. He swallowed hard. They're going to find us, aren't they? Her jaw tightened. Maybe. But I protect you. He stared at her, stunned by the strength in her voice. She was just one against many, yet she spoke with certainty. Still, fear burned in him. But why risk it? Why put yourself in danger for me? Her silver eyes met his, firm and unwavering. Because you are last. Because you are important to me. The words sank deep into his chest. For a moment, fear gave way to something else, a warmth he could not explain. But there was no time for feelings. The intruders were still inside the station, and the danger was growing. The alien girl guided him through hidden passages, narrow tunnels under the main halls. The air smelled of rust and dust, and the metal groaned under their steps. Every sound seemed too loud, every shadow too dark. At one point the man stumbled. His weak body nearly collapsed, but she caught him, holding him up with surprising strength. No, stop, she whispered. We move. They continued, their breaths quick, hearts racing. From somewhere above, the metallic footsteps echoed again, closer this time. The man's mind screamed with terror. What if they were trapped? What if there was no way out? Finally, they reached a small chamber at the edge of the station, a place hidden behind layers of broken machinery. The girl pulled him inside and sealed the door quietly. Darkness surrounded them, broken only by the faint glow of her eyes. The man sank against the wall, trembling. We can't keep running forever, he said, his voice shaking. If they're after me, they'll never stop. The alien girl crouched in front of him. Her voice was calm but fierce. Then we not run forever. We fight if must. But I not let them take you. His eyes widened. He saw no fear in her face, only fire. She was willing to stand against her own kind. For him. For the first time since he had woken, he felt something stronger than fear. He felt trust. Their eyes met in the dim light. No words were needed. The bond between them had turned into something unbreakable. But outside, the footsteps still echoed, searching, hunting. The fight for survival had only just begun. The small chamber was silent except for the sound of the man's breathing. He sat on the floor, his back against the cold steel wall, trying to calm the fear in his chest. The alien girl stood near the sealed door, her silver eyes glowing faintly in the dark. She could hear the echoes outside, her people searching, their weapons humming softly, their voices sharp. She knew them well. They were soldiers of her kind, trained to capture, not to show mercy. If they found the last human, he would be taken away, broken apart in the name of knowledge and power. She also knew what they would think of her, for protecting him, for hiding him. They would see her as a traitor. Her heart beat heavily. For the first time, she felt trapped between two worlds. The man's voice broke the silence. "They're your people, aren't they?" His eyes were filled with both fear and understanding. "And I'm the enemy to them." She turned to him, her lips trembling. "Not enemy, but to them, you are tool. You are weapon, not man." He lowered his gaze. The truth hurt, but he already knew it. "Then what will you do?" he asked quietly. "Will you give me to them, or will you fight against your own?" The question cut into her heart like a blade. She had been raised to obey her kind, to serve her people, to follow the rules of survival. But since she had found him, everything had changed. He was fragile, lost and broken, yet there was something inside him that gave her hope. He was more than a relic of the past. He was life. He was meaning. She closed her eyes. What is right? Loyalty to blood or loyalty to truth? The footsteps outside grew louder. The soldiers were moving closer. There was no more time to think. She knelt beside him, her silver eyes locking with his. Her voice was firm now, steady and strong. "I choose you." His eyes widened in shock. "Me? Why?" "You'll risk everything." Her hand touched his shoulder gently. "Because you are last. Because without you, nothing remains. And because," her voice softened, almost breaking, "because I cannot lose you." The man felt his throat tighten. For the first time since he had woken, he saw someone willing to stand for him, even against her own kind. His chest ached with emotion. Before he could speak, a loud crash shook the chamber. The door trembled under heavy blows. The soldiers had found them. The alien girl rose quickly, her body tense, her mind sharp. She looked at him with fire in her eyes. "Stay behind me." The man's hands shook. He was weak, unarmed, powerless, but he could see the strength in her, the unshakable decision she had made. The door cracked, sparks flying as the soldiers forced their way through. The alien girl stepped forward, her voice echoing like steel. "He is mine. You will not take him." The soldiers hesitated, surprised. One of them spoke in their harsh tongue, accusing her of betrayal. Another raised his weapon. The girl did not move. She stood tall, her silver eyes blazing. "He is not tool, not weapon. He is man, he is life, and I will protect him, even from you." The chamber filled with silence for a moment. Then rage erupted. The soldiers lunged forward. The fight was quick but fierce. The alien girl moved with speed and grace, her body striking like lightning. She dodged their blows, her hands glowing, with strange energy as she pushed them back. Sparks flew. Metal groaned. And the man watched in awe and fear. He wanted to help, but his body was too weak. All he could do was call out, "Be careful!" She fought with everything she had, but the soldiers were strong and there were more of them outside. She knew they could not hold forever. She grabbed the man's arm. "We run!" They dashed through a narrow side passage as energy blasts lit up the chamber behind them. The sound of shouting and pursuit filled the air. The station shook with chaos. As they ran, the man stumbled, nearly falling. She caught him, holding him close, refusing to let go. He looked up at her with desperate eyes. "Why are you doing this for me?" Her breath was heavy, her voice fierce. "Because choice already made. My people or you. And I choose you." The words struck him like fire in the dark. Even as fear consumed him, hope lit inside his heart. They ran deeper into the shadows of the station, the soldiers' voices echoing behind them. The future was uncertain. Danger pressed on every side. But one truth had been written in that moment. The alien girl had chosen, not her people, not safety. She had chosen him, and that choice would change everything. The station was falling apart. Sparks burst from broken walls, Alarms screamed faintly in the distance, and the echo of chasing soldiers still carried through the endless halls. The alien girl and the last human ran together, their footsteps quick, their breaths heavy. The man's body was weak, but he refused to stop. Every step he took was driven not by strength, but by the will to survive, and by trust in the girl beside him. She held his arm when he stumbled, guided him through hidden paths, and never let go of his hand. Finally, they reached the far end of the station. A wide window stretched before them, showing the stars outside. Bright, endless, and eternal. For a moment, both stopped, staring at the universe. The man's chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. "It's beautiful," he whispered, his voice breaking. "Even after everything, it's still beautiful." The alien girl looked at him, her silver eyes glowing softly. "Yes, universe lives, and so do you." But the danger was not over. Behind them, footsteps thundered closer. Voices shouted in her language, demanding she surrender. The man turned, panic rising again. "They're coming. We can't outrun them forever." She pressed a hand to his chest, steadying him. "Listen, no matter what, I protect you. But now, you must choose too." He frowned. "Choose? What do you mean?" Her eyes were filled with sadness and strength. "This station will die soon. If we stay, we die too. But there is ship, small one hidden outside. I can take you, far away. But if I do this, I can never go back to my people." The man froze. He understood. She had already betrayed her kind to save him. If she left with him, she would lose everything, her home, her family, her place in her world. "Why would you give all that up and for me?" he whispered. Her lips trembled, but her voice was steady. "Because you are last, because you are hope, and because my heart already chose." The word struck him deeper than any weapon. His throat tightened, his eyes burned. She was not just protecting him anymore. She was giving her future for him. The soldiers' voices grew louder, closer. They had no time. The man took her hand, gripping it firmly. His voice was no longer weak. "Then we go. Together." Her silver eyes widened for a moment, then softened into a smile. She nodded. They moved quickly, escaping through a hidden passage that led to a docking bay. There, among rust and silence, a small alien craft waited, half broken but still alive with faint light. The girl activated it and the doors opened with a hiss. As they climbed aboard, energy blasts struck the walls behind them. The soldiers had arrived. Shouts filled the bay, weapons firing wildly. The man ducked, fear racing through him. But the girl stood tall, shielding him until the doors closed. The ship trembled as engines roared to life. Then with a burst of fire, it shot out into the blackness of space. The station shrank behind them, a giant skeleton drifting in the void. The soldiers' voices faded into nothing. Silence returned, this time not empty, but filled with breath and possibility. Inside the ship, the man sat quietly, staring at the stars. His heart was heavy with loss. His people, his world, everything he had known was gone. But at the same time, for the first time since awakening, he did not feel broken. Beside him, the alien girl sat, her eyes watching him. She reached out, her hand finding his. "You are not alone," she whispered. He turned to her, meeting her gaze. There was no doubt in her eyes, no fear, no hesitation, only truth. He squeezed her hand. "And neither are you." Silence filled the cabin, but it was a warm silence, a silence of understanding. Together they looked out at the endless stars. They did not know where they would go, or what dangers waited. The man was still the last of his kind, and she was now an exile from hers. But in that moment, none of it mattered. For the first time, they were not running from the past. They were moving toward the future, a new beginning. As the ship drifted deeper into the universe, the alien girl rested her head lightly against his shoulder. The man closed his eyes, letting himself feel the weight of her presence, the warmth of her touch. And though humanity had fallen, its last survivor carried something greater than memory. He carried love. Even after extinction, humanity lived on, in the heart of an alien girl.